How are you guys? It's been a while. Vaughn, Chris, how are we doing?
Good,
Yeah.
thanks. And you?
Fabulous.
Fabulous.
Yeah, fantastic. How's the Netherlands?
Good. It's cold. It was snowing yesterday. I prefer it when it's warm. I'll just be honest with you. I guess we're all the same, right? Like, you don't want it too hot. You don't want it too cold. But there's a perfect middle there. And for me, it's in the 20s, not in the zeros. But
Yeah, I had a great time in my 20s. Anyway,
didn't we all? Shall we talk Liverpool? I mean, we got Liverpool fans on. It's been a while, guys.
let's start with Liverpool. I'm dying to hear Vaughn's opinions on where we are.
Yeah. Why not? Vaughn, do you want to kick us off? We'll just have a quick look at Liverpool. Well, actually, no need for a quick look. Let's dive into it. Where are we at? Recent games, season so far. Where do you want to start?
It's a little bit confusing, actually, because I felt like we were on an upwards trajectory, and then the City game happened. And look, I do think the City game was a lot of evils against us and a lot of bad decisions and a lot of stupid decisions that happened to end up with the result that it did. I even said to people that were chatting to me after the game, I'll take the 3-1 loss. But to
2-1. 2-1.
To lose it in the way that we did, the inconsistencies when it came to the refereeing and the officiating and the decisions, and just applying rules where they shouldn't be applied and not applying rules where they should be applied. It baffles my mind. So it was extremely frustrating from that point. I did see positives in the game, and I think our bounce back after that has been great. Really, really, really excited by the link up I've noticed and the click that's happened between Salah and Flo lately. Like over the last few games, I've seen it since Mo's come back from AFCON. I've seen the two of them really link up really, really well on the pitch, and I'm enjoying it. I feel like Mo's sort of, I don't want to say he's back, but he's finding something and it's clicking, and he knows that he's not getting goals on target in terms of like his own scoring, but the assists that he's giving in, and if people can put away those assists, it's a game changer for me. Like specifically this one now, I think because it's fresh in the FA Cup with that one touch to Dom. It was executed to perfection. I mean, from Ali to Verge to Cody across. I miss the cross balls. I must say, I really, really miss Trent and the cross balls and that type of football. But like Cody, the cross ball to Salah, that one touch and then Dom finishes, I thought was absolutely incredible. I do stand, this is a hill I'm willing to die on at the moment. Dom is currently the best midfielder in the world. And I think it's sucky that he's playing at this moment like this when the rest of the team are not necessarily performing at their best. But I also think Miloš has clicked as well a little bit, but Robbo at the same time. And if we were doing stocks rising in this podcast, it has to go to Wataru Endo for being such a warrior in that last game. It was to put your entire career and your World Cup hopes on the line for the team to defend a corner when you probably have a broken ankle. We haven't had confirmation as yet as we record this, is what we do, and that's how you play for the badge. And I hope it's not the last time we ever see him in a Liverpool shirt, even though Slot has said that he's probably going to be back on the bench towards the end of the season. But he is likely to go in the summer, and I hope that's not the last time he represents us. But if you do, what a cult hero, and I love you, Wataru.
We can always throw in a stocks rising and a stocks falling. I find that it's an interesting take on Ari Szoboszlai. I think I'll always fight for Declan Rice, but what I will say is that free kick didn't feel as surprising as it should when you score that kind of goal. To do that against Arsenal and then City in two massive games, it's one thing to do it against, like, I don't know, Wigan Athletic in the fourth round of the FA Cup, and you're smashing it past someone who might be semi-professional, or if they're professional, they're way off elite level. But we're talking about like the best goalkeepers in the league are getting beaten from silly angles and silly ranges by Dominic Szoboszlai at the moment. He is an incredible footballer. I'm not going to deny it. And it's always a testament, I think, to how good you are when a manager loses two players in a single position and you're the first player who gets moved out of your natural spot in the team, like Szoboszlai was, and then placed at fullback, because it really means that the manager goes, I believe in you. You can do a job when the chips are down and I need somebody. So a big shout, but he's excellent. He really is excellent. Chris, where are you at the moment with Liverpool? Why don't we start with the City game? How did you feel that went? I mean, the Gay decision, for example, there were some things there that could have gone differently.
The City game, I thought, was a game of two halves. I thought we were absolute crap in the first half. Couldn't put four passes together. It was like horrible. Granted, as Von said, the refs seemed to be blowing everything against us. But besides that, we didn't do ourselves any favors. The second half looked so good. And then suddenly it was like a great Liverpool team again. They were putting it together. They were playing at pace. They were intent. There was everything there. Went 1-0 up. And then I don't know what happened. I think they tried to defend a lead, and that's always the worst thing to do at 1-0. Conceded the first one and then lost our heads completely. Like, it should have been 3-1. Like, I was joking when I was saying it was 2-1 or 2-1, because I don't know how that third goal got disallowed. It was a very strange series of events. I've been watching football for a long time. I think that's one of the weirdest refereeing, like, goal disallowed, but Dominic Szoboszlai red carded. But yeah. And I think, what the hell was Alisson doing? Like, I mean, granted, he scored that crack against Newcastle a few years ago, but like, go up the corner, sure, but maybe come back afterwards. Like, I don't know, he suddenly decided, like, his body was obsessed by Romario or something of 1990. But yeah, he like just thought he'd stay up there. What the hell?
He's the reason that we lost the ball for that third goal.
Yeah, well, that as well. I mean, I think he was kind of, the penalty was playing on his mind, because that was a bit of a stupid one to give away. But I still think he's one of the best goalkeepers in the world, so I'll forgive him that. I do sometimes wonder, we've got a right back that we're not using. I would rather have, I know Szoboszlai didn't do anything wrong in the position, but I'd rather have him in the midfield and put the youngster in at right back. Ramsey is his name. Yeah, put him in at right back. Let him get a little bit of support from the more experienced guys in the middle. Maybe even put like Endo in as a defensive mid, giving him a bit of extra protection or whatever, and keep Dominic Szoboszlai as an attacking midfielder where he's best for me. Even in the FA Cup game, okay, granted he wasn't 100% fit, but Joe Gomez was there. Joe Gomez was great when he came on. He's been a right back. Why aren't we using him? Like, he came back from a knock, but I'd say use Joe Gomez. Like, keep the natural guys in their positions. But that's my. I'm still doubtful about Slot. I don't know if he's going to be there next season. I don't know if Von's going to be here in 5 seconds. But there's some positives. I would like to see. She was talking about Mo Salah. Are we going to wait for it, or are we just going to power through?
Just keep going, mate. Just keep going.
Mo Salah, for me, I would love to see. I mean, he's lost a couple of yards of pace, but I'd love to see him move back into that sort of more of a central role, kind of like Barnes did towards the end of his career, just pulling the strings from the midfield, because he's got such a brilliant range of passing and he's got such a great football mind that's something I think could happen really, really nicely.
I agree. I've seen more from Salah recently, which indicates maybe that, form is temporary, class is permanent. He's going to have maybe a good few months left of the season. It's funny how there's so much football in November and December and early Jan. If you get that period wrong and you have, I don't know, a few off weeks in life, which I guess anybody can have in any industry at any time, anywhere. For them, that's like 12 games now, whereas it used to be like 4 or 5. And so I wonder, I mean, Eze is similar. When he played for Palace, he's a fair weather player, so plays brilliantly from August till around October, then pretty poorly, and then has like an electric run at the end of every season where he explodes into life. And maybe it's just the vitamin D, because in Europe it's a pretty dark winter. But some players just, you have those moments of form, and Salah hasn't really had those in his last few years of his career. It's just sort of high level performance all the time. But I agree that he's looking like he's back, and I don't want to speculate prematurely here, but I would say if he is, it's a really good time for it to happen, because you're in an interesting place in the league around that 7 spot, where a few losses and it looks bad, right? But a few wins and it looks great. You're back in Champions League spot.
There's also the other thing that makes it evil, that the Scum United are above us, which makes it even worse. But I've been hearing rumors of, I think it was always, but it's becoming more and more prevalent, that Slot and the rest of the dressing room aren't seeing eye to eye. So if you saw the last transfer window, there was talk of Jones leaving, there was talk of Robertson leaving, wanting out. All of these players are rumored to have had bust. I'm not even going to ask. And like, apparently him and Andy Robertson had a big fallout. Him and Curtis Jones had a fallout. Him and Virgil van Dijk have had a fallout. Him and Salah, obviously, that went quite public. So you just wonder what's going on in the background there. But they seem to have maybe got past it. They played quite nicely on Saturday. And I'd be interested to see how they do in the league. I would be very sad if let's talk about Man United quickly. Is this temporary? Do you think Carrick's just injected a little bit of enthusiasm into the team, or do you think he's actually a decent tactician? I see him as being a good man manager, which I think Amorim was missing. But I'm wondering if it's the Scholz. Remember Ole at the wheel, and then the wheel, he drove them into like relegation, which was awesome.
I mean, I'm hoping it's the latter, of course, and it's more of the same. But I mean, Amorim got fired / left when Manchester United weren't even that far down the leaderboard, right? I think they may have been 4th or 5th when they pulled the trigger. I think it was already a pretty decent team that was being largely, I think, mismanaged at a tactical level, because I just think the 3 at the back thing where, he'd excluded the kid Kobbie Mainoo, and it was creating a weird vibe at the club. It felt like he had just picked a few battles that didn't seem to make any sense to pick, right? Like backing a 3 at the back or a 5 at the back as a Man United coach. And then he made the fatal error, right, as a general, which is if you have a tactic that you back to the hilt and then you get pressured and pressured and pressured, and then you fold and you go to a 4 at the back for one game, and then it works out, and then you don't stay with it. You go back to the 5 at the back for no apparent reason. I feel like you could lose people.
He did change his tactics against Wolves when Wolves hadn't even won a game as yet.
Yeah, but with the fans, they see it differently. They're like, "Hey, look, 4 at the back. It works. Let's stick with that." And then he immediately shifts back, and I think it broke a few people. But I'm not sure if Carrick is a genius or it's actually just a decent team. Like quite a few of the players they signed in the summer, I think, are really good players, like Cunha and Mbeumo, and it was smart. And I think they're just a pretty decent team, to be honest. But I was still shocked to see what they did to City and Arsenal in back-to-back games. That was incredible, to be honest.
To also to put a bit of a damper on that. I mean, fair play, well done to them. But that was probably the worst Arsenal performance I've seen all season.
Yeah.
I was there in the stadium. Horrible to watch. Probably one of the worst games I've seen live in decades generally, because I was right behind, like up with a sort of bird's eye view over Dorgu as he lined it up. So I just saw that ping and then it go off the bar. It felt like it's sort of the dagger was going right from Dorgu into my heart, The trajectory would have continued, and if it had just gone over the bar, I think it would have hit us. An incredible moment in football. And I think quite a lot of the games at the moment are being decided like chess games, where they're a bit boring. It's very tactical. It's kind of frustrating to watch. But Manchester United in those games they just walked all over City and Arsenal. And in both games, both teams were pretty poor. But you got to make them look poor. So I was impressed. Yeah. Dagger to the heart.
Do you think that United stand the guy who's growing his hair until United win 5 games in a row? I've seen some players and even Michael Carrick talk about it because he's like his kids mentioned it to him. And even Wayne Rooney's now weighed in on it. Do you think that actually affects the players? Because I personally don't think he necessarily wants them to win 5 games in a row. I mean, he's gained so much popularity now. And then what will he do afterwards? If you do string 5 wins together.
I'm just surprised Wayne Rooney can count to 5.
Chris went there. He said the things.
Shots fired. I mean, I gotta say, the whole attacks on the kid and even the focus on it, like just classic examples of journalists not having enough to talk about. I mean, come on, it's a kid who's just he's made a game out of it, and it's gone on way longer than he anticipated. Clearly, I mean, imagine thinking that it was going to take this long for Man U to get 5 wins. I think he probably feels awkward about it at this point. I know he deleted his social media, I think, yesterday or the day before. Yeah, after receiving quite a lot of abuse.
His live stream when he thought that they were going to win, and when Casemiro scored what they thought was the equalizer, then they celebrated, and then only for it to be disallowed. But then Šeško getting the late equalizer. Shame. I don't know how I feel about it, because I've seen Trent's brother has now apparently said on his podcast or his live feed that he's not going to cut his hair until Liverpool win 5 games in a row. And then people were commenting and saying maybe he should not cut his hair until Trent starts 5 games in a row. I say this wearing a Trent shirt at the moment. And apparently Trent had one of the best games for Real Madrid to date of the season. And the fans are completely gushing over him. But I don't know if we should take things this seriously, and for it to get back to the players and the players make comments about how they don't actually care what he thinks or whatever. It tells me that they do.
I think it's hilarious. It was like a joke that I think you're also right, by the way, that he probably doesn't really want them to win 5 games in a row. But like the fact that it's become as big as it is, that's awesome. And I hope the players look at his hair and feel terrible every single day of their lives.
Stick the knife in. I love it. All right, just a quick check then from your perspective. We're how many games in now? This is match week 27 coming up. Liverpool 6th, 42 points, 2 points off Chelsea in 5th, 2 points off Brentford in 7th. Wow, the way they played against Arsenal in the last game, they could easily have given us a hiding. I thought they were absolutely fantastic. How are you feeling? I mean, you've got a couple of other contenders a little bit further behind you now. 5 points to 8th place Everton, and 9th is Bournemouth. Do you feel like the only way now is attacking upwards and really going after Chelsea and Manchester United for the Champions League spots? How are you guys seeing the rest of the season playing out from here?
We got a nice run of games right now. Like, hopefully that gives us a little bit of momentum. It's like Forest, and I think we've got like a West Ham and a Wolves and a Wolves again in the FA Cup. And it's not a tough group until for a short while. So as long as
you got Forest and West Ham in the league, then
have
Wolves.
Forest appointed a new manager or an interim manager instead? I haven't heard anything.
I think they did, if I'm not mistaken. I know Spurs. We've got to talk about
Spurs with Eagle
in a minute. Spurs hired like Croatian Sam Allardyce, which would be interesting. Yeah. But yeah, hopefully Forest is still in turmoil on the weekend, because like as much as I love them, I wouldn't mind taking 3 points off them. They've been a bit of a bogey team for us.
Also, if anyone knows, what is the record for the most amount of managers to be sacked in one season that's managed a single club? Because Forest have now, this is their third manager that they've sacked this season.
Don't know the record.
That's an interesting one to check.
If anyone knows, please comment below so we can find out.
It's got to be. It's got to be a Chelsea. It's got to be involving Chelsea, right? I mean, those guys feel like the club. I don't know. Wolves are got to be a contender. I think they had a couple of managerial changes in one season. Remember Bolton back in the day had a couple in one season. What are Forest on now? They fired 2 managers in one season, right?
Three.
They've fired
Denver and now Sean.
I feel like that's got to be a record. That's to be a record.
It has to be.
I'll have a look.
I genuinely feel like it has to be.
But while we're doing that, the questionable questions. I'm going to ask my fellow Liverpool fan this because she's completely impartial. Is Arsenal going to bottle it again?
Do you want my heart to answer or my head to answer?
Let's go with your head first.
Good, because it's the same answer as my heart. Yes.
Because Spurs is going to be a tricky one on the weekend.
Spurs is going to be very tricky over the weekend, especially because the new manager bounced. Even though they've got a lot of injuries. Like a lot of injuries. Also,
it would be a problem.
Dominic scored 2 incredible free kicks in the Premier League, right? One against Arsenal, one against City. It just coincides the same weekend that Spurs, I think it was first Richarlison with the overhead kick, and then Dominic Solanke with the scorpion kick. Like, they've scored 2 incredible goals, and then Dom was like, hold my beer, guys. Let me show you.
I think your point around the record was correct. 4 managers in a single Premier League season has never happened before. 3 has. Crystal Palace in 97-98, Newcastle in 2008-2009. It wasn't Wolves, it was Watford. The other I always get Watford and Wolves confused, and that was in 21-22. Vitor Pereira, of course, is the new manager of Forest.
Okay. Every time I hear Watford, I just think of that incredible footballing moment they gave us during, I think, was it the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, in that knockout where saved penalty and then winning goal was it Troy Deeney?
Troy Deeney.
At the end. That was just an incredible moment in football. And you're just like, this is why I watch football.
Yeah. That was a heck of I think that's sort of British cultural folklore at this point. It's gone beyond football. It's an incredible moment. Just on the Arsenal bottling it point, I do want to get my opinion on that one out there.
I think that's all we have time for, guys.
Thank you, guys. That was a fantastic episode. I think bottling is probably an interesting phrase to use. I always wonder if...
Do you prefer the phrase pulling an Arsenal?
I prefer the phrase competing for a league title. Like, if you're 4 points ahead, it is what it is, right? Like, in a league challenge, there will always be moments where they will close on you and then you will make the distance or the gap. I think this season will come down again to, like it always should between title rivals, the games against each other. So they have a heck of an opportunity, because if they do beat us and it goes down to 1 point, anything can happen. You can always drop a couple points.
It's still quite soon, isn't it?
You play 2 games and you have that extra game now before City play that makeup game, because they're playing Champions League and you're playing Wolves, I think it is, on Wednesday, and then before the Spurs game. So you can gain a bit of confidence in that Wolves game before you go to Spurs.
It's a really good point, and I must say I do prefer playing first in terms of getting points on the leaderboard. I always hated the reverse over the last few years, where you're constantly going, hey, we got those games in hand. that's going to be 6 points. And it's like, no, mate, until you've played the game out, it's no points. And so, yeah, it's a good point, Von. And it does, I think, take us pretty far back before or late in the season before City get to do the double game week.
Find it because I think they're waiting on scheduling that fixture based on Champions League.
Yeah.
Because it has to happen during the week. So based on Champions League and Carabao, well, it's the final for Carabao Cup. Obviously, that's why. And the FA Cup, I think that's why they haven't scheduled it yet. So it's happening very, very early for Arsenal.
It's going to be an interesting thing to have the Carabao Cup final, have the two teams who are going up against it in the league, and then you've got a pretty high chance that FA Cup semi-finalists will be Arsenal versus City in that branch. And it's pretty likely that because of the way it's played out with the Champions League playoff system, and by ending up in the top two, we've ended up in a branch which would meet City or Real Madrid pretty quickly if they win their respective fixtures. I suspect City would beat Madrid at the moment, given how Madrid's season is going. And so Arsenal could potentially be playing City 5 times in 4 competitions in the next 4 months, which could be pretty, I think, interesting for the neutral to see it. It'll be like one of those boxing trilogies, you know? Interesting. Yeah.
Tim, I want to get your opinion on Raya complaining about being crowded in the penalty area with a corner coming in. What do you think? Does he have a leg to stand on, or is it just unfair to be complaining that you're being crowded when that's exactly what Arsenal do every single time that there's a ball in?
Never saw anything in the game like
WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's the way corners are is that there's a lot of physical contact. Arsenal were one of the proponents of that, so I don't think we can make any kind of complaints. That's not why we lost that's not why we drew the game. We drew the game because we had 2 shots on target and didn't create enough. We didn't make enough chances. So I think Raya's being a little, not naughty, but a little tongue-in-cheek, you know. It's trying to get away with a complaint there, which I don't think is valid.
And your opinion on Saka? Do you still think that he's goated? Or over to my side and said that he's, because I've strongly, and I've said this many times before, I really do think that he's overrated. But what do you think?
I think it's difficult. 4 years ago, he got 26 goals and assists in the Premier League season. Season after that, it was 24. Then last season, he had a dip in his numbers, and this season it continued. Yeah, the numbers have continued to dip, and I think part of it is the injury. Part of it is a better Arsenal team is facing lower and lower blocks, and teams that are more and more defensive. I mean, you saw how City turned up at the Emirates. I've never seen anything like that from a Guardiola team in my life. I get why his output is less, but I expected more from him. And I've been quite critical of him in Arsenal groups and in other footballing debates, like that you cannot expect to win Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues if your best players aren't playing at their best. And right now, Saka is way off what I've seen from him. So
what did you think of the experiment with him in a slightly different position on the weekend?
Oh, I'm glad you asked me that. Geeking out about tactics here. I find it to be a really, really interesting move. And Arsenal tacticos have been theorizing it like the whole Zinchenko is going to be a midfielder idea for years now, because the idea is Saka, by putting him on the far side, the 5th sort of channel, so to speak, you put him very, very far from goal, and he's got to do a lot to get there. If you put him at that number 10-ish position, you're giving him a chance to be much closer to shots and assists. And I think make your dangerous players closer to where you can be dangerous. So for me, I thought it was a masterstroke, and Odegaard is having a really difficult season. So maybe Saka on the inside with Noni on the outside is an interesting way of revitalizing the right-hand channel for the Arsenal.
So you still think you got to win it at the end of the season, eh?
Hey, my head is telling me that something is not quite clicking, and you need it to be on it to win. but something in my heart is saying we'll just get it done. But I don't know. I wouldn't put money on anything right now. I feel like the next month is going to be so important to see if City's run that they're accumulating is real or fake, like the last few that they've done this season where they then stumble again, or whether Arsenal's stumble is real, or whether they're going to go on a crazy run again. I don't know. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun title race.
Do you think, because Arsenal are also struggling, I mean, the entire Premier League are struggling with injuries at the moment. I don't know what's going on. I mean, we can debate about playing every 3 days until we're blue in the face. We're still going to watch games every 3 days, or like me, every single day. As long as there's a game on, I'm watching it. Do you think that Arsenal's calendar still being in all 4 competitions is what's going to actually be their downfall at the end of the day? And I'm not saying this because Slot made the excuse that we lost to PSG and that's why we won the league, because, I mean, we were 15 points ahead, and I'm just saying that I'm not backing him in that opinion before anyone comes for me.
Oof. I think you cannot buy the number of players Arsenal have bought, not necessarily an overall squad value, but in terms of just the number of options, and then complain too much, I think, about injuries. All I will say, though, is no elite team wins major trophies with their best players injured. So I still think while a good squad low increases the floor and means that we can compete in all 4 competitions, and that should continue. I think if we lose Declan Rice, for example, like I think he is the difference between winning a Champions League final and losing it. And whatever replacement you have on the bench is never going to be sufficient to replace that guy's role in the team. So there are 1 or 2 players, I think, if they get injured before a major game again, Von, then big trouble, eh? Like Gabriel in defense, Rice in midfield, and I'd probably argue Saka if he comes back to form. But at the moment, with him off form, maybe that's fine, and even, and we could play with Madueke in a final. But Rice and Gabriel, for me, are just irreplaceable with our squad, even with the guys we accumulated like sort of Pokemons.
No, I agree with you on the Rice thing. Last question from my side on Arsenal for you specifically. If, say, the season works out the way that you guys want it to work out, you win all 4 trophies, great. If it works out the way it's likely to work out, and you only, say, for instance, win 1 trophy, and it happens to be like the Carabao Cup, you finish second in the Premier League, you get kicked out of Champions League, you get kicked out of FA Cup, and you go home with the Carabao Cup, does Arteta keep his job next season? Your opinion?
I think Arteta would walk in that scenario for a new challenge or a break from football. I think the idea of walking out of this season with 1 trophy being the Mickey Mouse trophy, the plastic one that, your child sort of nibbles on, the corner gets all sort of frayed. The Carabao Cup is it's a trophy, but it's that's why it gets settled in February. It's like it's a starter before the main courses. I think he would be extremely disappointed, and I don't think they'd fire him if he was willing to stay. Like, our board is very happy with progress. They would see it as progress, but no, I think he would walk. I think this season is a Champions League or Premier League. Nothing else, even winning Carabao and FA Cup and doing a domestic cup double. No, I don't think it will be seen as success by the people in the club, all the fans, to be honest. We have to bring a big one home. And I would, if I had to choose one of the 2, if that was your follow-up question, between the Champions League and the Premier League, I would always choose Champions League. I've never seen it in my life. It would be something brand new for the club. And just so that I never have to listen to Chelsea fans sing the, you'll never, Champions of Europe, you'll never sing that, Champions of Europe, you'll never sing that. I never want to hear that from Chelsea fans again. So, yeah. We've been going on a little while, longer than we thought we were going to do. So what I'm going to ask from you guys is predictions from your side. You're currently 6th. I'm going to ask for a prediction for the rest of how the season plays out. Give me your final position on the leaderboard for Liverpool and then who wins the league this season. And why don't we start with Chris?
Thank you.
So my prediction is more of a hope. I really hope Arsenal actually wins it, just because like the City with the financial fair play and the way they've it'll be nice to see one of the old guard back in the mix. And I think Liverpool's probably going to finish 5th. I don't think they're going to make top 4, and hopefully we get that extra Champions League place. As long as they finish above Man United, I'm okay.
That's actually going to be I really hope it goes to the final day and it's you versus United for the top 4. It will make for an incredible final day. I'm very appreciative of your backing, Chris, because I don't know how anyone in football supports the 115 charges club for another title. It just makes us all look silly a little bit. But anyway, Vaughn, where are you at? What are you looking at for the rest of the season?
My heart says we will probably finish 4th. I'm going to say it. Yeah, 4th. And hopes and dreams, guys. Villa to win the league.
Oh yeah, that would be that, but that's not a prediction. I would love for Villa to win it.
So far out there, and especially with like Unai Emery as manager.
But that's not going to happen.
And you know what the cherry on the cake would be for me, just for Tom, is if Rodgers scores the winning goal that wins them the league.
Absolutely not. No, one of my favorite players outside of Arsenal. Absolutely not. I'm not having that.
I do think Arsenal will actually win the league. If they don't, then they don't deserve it at all. Like chasing it, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. If you guys cannot keep it this time when everyone else below you has been so disappointing and has taken their foot off the gas so completely and had disastrous seasons and disastrous runs. If you cannot win it in this season, then no. So if you can't, finish it.
Okay. Thank you, guys. I appreciate
your predictions there.
Shit. I thought I was going to get away with that. I'm going to predict that Arsenal will win the Premier League, and I'll just throw a prediction that Liverpool will finish 4th, and I'm going to predict that Man United will finish 3rd, and Villa will have a fall off and finish 5th. Yeah, I think that they're doing fantastic, but I do think if 1 or 2 people get injured, it's big problems in offensively, less so defensively. They've actually got a lot of depth on the bench in the defense, and the midfield, but not so much up front. So I think if Ollie Watkins or Rodgers get injured, and touch wood here, because I really don't want them to, because before the World Cup as well, I'm personally hoping that Rodgers wins that selection battle against Bellingham and Cole Palmer and lands the 10 behind Kane. We'll see. I just think he's the more wonderfully explosive player. I absolutely.
We're struggling with injuries, so maybe.
Yeah, and Palmer's got
games now.
Didn't they just sign another attacking player? I want to say
Tammy Abraham?
Yeah, and he's good.
He's been back actually.
Yeah, he's finally replaced John Duran, which lovely player.
He scored in the FA Cup, his first goal.
Yeah, Tammy's good. I really liked him when he was at Chelsea, to be honest. I was always a little bit, how do I say, disappointed by the sort of, when Chelsea get rid of their toys and they sort of, the poor guys just end up in some league like Turkey or whatever. Yeah.
Like Sterling now.
Like Sterling. Great example. Yeah. Appearing on my board. Yeah. Here in Feyenoord. Guys, thank you so much for your time. We're going to wrap that one up there. It's going to be an interesting weekend. We've got some fixtures. Manchester City versus Newcastle. Spurs versus Arsenal. Definitely the pick of the bunch for the weekend. But it's going to be exciting across the Premier League, I suspect. Chat soon, folks. And thank you to anyone who managed to get to the end of the podcast. We appreciate your support. As always, I think that's that for the Pattern Play. Ciao for now.
Yes.